Well, we welcome you to the Today is Your Day show. I'm your host, Jonathan Davis, and I'm so excited that you decided to join us. Again, we have two awesome couples here today that will be talking about love, how their marriage works, and how it continues all these wonderful years. I'm so excited that they are here to share their story and give some pointers on some things that you may want to hear that can lead you to love, that can better your marriage, better your relationship, and all the things that you need to hear. But before then, let's hear some announcements here for the Today is Your Day show. We want to thank and acknowledge our sponsors and partners for the Today is Your Day show. Starting with the YouTube channel, The Proclamation 101. I want you to make sure that you check them out every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go to the YouTube channel, look up The Proclamation 101, click subscribe and the bell so you don't miss it. They're going over the Garden Within with Dr. Anita Phillips. You don't want to miss it. Another sponsor is the Young People Nation podcast with the Perrys. They are talking about things that we need to discuss with our young people and what our young people are going through. This is something you don't want to miss every Thursday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on podcast stations. Listen, you can also catch them on YouTube. They have a YouTube and a podcast, so there's no excuse that you can't catch what they have going on and getting that conversation that you need to hear. You want your life, business, or organization and ministry to go to the next level, you need to hit up Davis Consultants. They do branding, life coaching, CEO mentorship, executive coaching, business coaching, and ministry consulting. Listen, you need to hit them up at www.davisconsultantsgroup.com. Take your life, your ministry, your business, and organization to the next level. You don't want to miss out on this in 2024. You need to cancel all your previous plans for the 23rd and make sure you are there in Lincoln, Georgia at the night of worship and prayer. Kimberly J Ministries is putting this on and you don't want to miss it. It is going to be amazing. It will be a night you have never experienced before. So you want to be at True Friendship Church, 3086 Chamberlain Ferry Road in Lincolnton, Georgia. That's Friday, 23rd at 7:30 p.m. Also, we want to thank our partner, A Word and a Song. You want to go to Montre Roberts on Facebook and check them out every third Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, that's A Word and a Song every third Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look up Montre Roberts on Facebook. I'm so excited to tell you all about my new book. It's called I'm So Grateful, My Weekly Time of Gratitude. It's in Amazon right now, so you all can go to Amazon and find this book. It's going to be an amazing time for you. It's a gratitude journal that goes with you throughout the whole year. I know a lot of times we think about the things in our lives and don't understand that there's so many good things that are actually happening. And this journal will help guide you along that path. It gives you prompts to answer questions about things that you should be grateful for, those things that have maybe happened in that week or that day. Listen, this is the book that you want for this year. I'm so grateful, my weekly time of gratitude. Go to Amazon, check it out, get it for your whole family. I'm telling you, it's going to be a blessing to you and your life. Again, it's called I'm So Grateful, My Weekly Time of Gratitude by Jonathan Davis. I promise you, it's going to bless you. And those are our announcements for the Today is Your Day show. Before I bring up our wonderful guest, let's hear the Today is Your Day word. One thing that I love about life is it reveals your life and it reveals you. A lot of times I hear people talk about my life sucks, but does your life really suck, or do you suck living your life? Sometimes you just have to open your eyes and see what life is showing you. If you see your friends and there's things about them that really annoy you, have you ever asked yourself, one, why are we friends? Two, do I do that in my life? Why is it annoying me so much? Look at your habits. Look at the things around you. If your life sucks so much, or you're not enjoying the things in your life, make a change. You hold the power. But what are you going to do with that power? Are you going to keep living this life how you've been living it all this time, being unhappy, feeling stuck, feeling trapped in your own life? Or are you going to do something about it? Listen, we again are trying to win in 2024, but it starts with you. It starts with you using the power that you have within you to change your life. All right, remember, today is your day. Today is your day, and I want to thank the Paris of the Young People Nation podcast for being a sponsor for the Today is Your Day show moment. Now, speaking of the amazing Paris, let's bring them up on the Today is Your Day show. Thank you, Eugene and Donna Perry, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
Of course. I told them, and I want to tell you all, I just wanted to make sure people understood that, you know what, marriage still works. And guess what? It's a fight at times, but you can get through it. You can get through it. You can get through it. I wanted to introduce you all to the world of the Today is Your Day show. So tell us, how did y'all actually meet?
I'm gonna let you say that one.
Huh?
Go ahead, baby.
Well, I was telling a friend of mine that God speaks to you in many different ways, and he said, "What do you mean?" And I got silent, and I looked. I said, "Right over there. You see that young lady working over there in the takeout section or windows?" I said, "That's gonna be my wife right there." And he said, "You crazy?" I said, "No, I ain't." So a couple weeks later, we was in the gym, and there she was. And naturally, I went over there and with my athletic self, and we played a couple of games. And she, being her athletic self, cause I didn't know she used to play basketball, she beat the crap out of me. She beat me so bad. She beat me so bad I had to marry her. I mean, yeah, I went up for the block the shot, and she faked, and I flew all the way to China, and she beat. They won 2 games, and I said, she can't. I am not gonna be no bragging story. So I went on and married her like that. And once you married like that, she can't testify against you in the court of law. So I'm good.
Oh boy.
Mrs. Perry, tell me, what was it about him that made you say yes?
Okay, transparency. He
Go
was
for it.
fine, you know.
All right.
And he still is. Okay.
I didn't have to pay her to tell that.
But my parents were able to see things I didn't see, and I always honored my parents' wisdom. And it came from both parents about him, because I was younger. I was 20, 21, and, you know, just having fun. Jesus Christ was not my Lord and Savior, okay? So I was having fun. And so, but it was something about him that was different than any of the guys that I have had ever dated. It's not like, look, at 21, I was a late bloomer for one thing. However, we just connected, you know, and I just love being around him. And he proposed in 6 months of us dating.
Yep. Really? Sure did. Yep. She looked at me, and I couldn't help myself. I had to go out and get that ring quick. Yep.
What did your family say about that time period?
Oh, my dad, you know, I was all about you going to ask my father, because he proposed in front of his friends. I was like, well, you know, you got to go out and ask my dad. Okay. And so my dad just loved him. However, you know, back in the day, they would tell you, listen, if it's not going to work, bring her back home.
I was perfect.
You need to repent. And so my dad was like, bring her back home, because you know back then they didn't mind shooting you.
Oh yeah, he'll shoot you now.
So yeah.
What?
Oh yeah.
So we had some. We were just talking to a couple the other day about having those real transparent conversations, that you need to be honest with each other. You know, because like my husband has told our daughters, you got to be able to wake up to this person and smell the bad breath. You know. You know, and shapes are going to change. A lot of things are going to change.
Yep.
And so
socks stole on the floor. Hey.
And yeah, that way. But I got wisdom from my mother, and I share with the audience. My mom said, okay, he'd leave a pair of socks on the floor. Would you rather have to pick up another woman's pair of stockings instead of his socks? I was like, well, I'd be in jail if I was picking up another woman's pair of stockings, because that ain't working. And so praise God. We're friends. That's the key in keeping your relationship. You got to keep your friendship. You keep people in your life that help build you and hold you accountable as an individual. Because when I started believing God for him to give his life to Jesus Christ, my mother always told me about myself. She never said anything against him. So the key is that you can only change you. You can't change no one else. So I kept, excuse me, healthy women in my life to help me to understand marriage.
And in marriage, you got to be able to trust your mate. And when we first started out, I put her on everything I had. It was no hidden treasures or anything. She was on every bank account, everything. So that I assure her that you have my trust completely. And no secret accounts, no hidden agendas, everything on the table. So we were good to go.
And with that, I had to make sure that I protected that level of trust. Because
and naturally she got the new car, you know, in marriage. She got that.
Well, that's where it's supposed to be, right, ladies? But but you know, and we've had situations because we come from two totally different backgrounds.
Yeah.
And he was the oldest of four, and I'm the youngest of five. So go figure, you know.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I got people going crazy in the comments. I love it. Well, before I bring up the other couple, you were saying, why do you feel it's important to have? You talked about, you know, powerful and strong women in your life. Why did you find that important?
Okay, you've been around me, Jonathan, so you know I'm gonna keep it 1,000. Okay.
Please do.
I just did not. I wanted to live and not just exist in this relationship. And these women, they taught from their mistakes. One of them, husband, he got saved later, but she taught me from her mistakes of don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And so I was like, oh, because you know, you first get saved, you want to be at every situation, every service. And they would actually come up to me and say, weren't you at church this morning? And I said, yes, ma'am. I said, but look, I had this checklist. Okay. I made sure he had something to eat. I made sure I made love with him. I made sure that everything was in place. So he had no want for nothing, right? But what they taught me was he needs your presence. So they used to tell me, I was excited about going back to church. I would ask him if it was okay. He said yes, but they would tell me, no, go home. Go back home because he needs your presence. And so, yes.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Men out there, you once you get into the Word of God and you want your family centered on God, that scripture that says Jesus wept. Is he crying when he see you walk through the door. Picture yourself walking through the door in the presence of Jesus, and he sees you, and he's crying. Is he crying because he see what you've done? He know where you've been. He know what you said. He know what agenda you got in your heart. Is he crying because of that, or is he crying because here is someone that's living their life that I want them to live together? And he's crying because he know that there is hope for the generation to come.
And see, that's why I married him. He's so smart in words, man. Somebody asked a question: would I have married him if he wasn't?
Devonna Davis.
Would
you have married him if he didn't believe in God? Would you have married him?
Well, we weren't. Neither one of us was saved. What?
She poured all that oil on my pillow. I had no choice.
Neither one of us was saved when we got married. So yes. I always knew about God and stuff. And so one thing I had to do is accept him where he was. You know, the mistake a lot of women make when they get their life to God, you're calling him a devil. You're telling him that, he got to stop drinking stuff. No, he was drinking when you said I do. So whatever he was doing when he said I do, that's who he is until him and God made that change.
She was so good to me that I didn't believe it was real. And I said, man. So I got to the point where I'm going to church with you. So I went to church with her on that on the I believe it was a Wednesday night. And I was sitting there. It's funny. It's real funny. I sitting there, my shirt was open and everything, and that little 5 foot tall Sister Thomas said, "You got to be saved to take these Bible classes." And I said, "Well, I tried everything else in life. All right, I do it." And the white sister jumped up, started shouting. My wife was shouting. I said, y'all need to be quiet.
Jesus, you got to say, because I was on the edge. I used to ask God, look, hey, can I cuss him out? Because he seemed like he get it when I cuss him out. But in my mind, answer for that.
But in my mind, in my mind, I'm saying y'all need to be quiet in church, and so we can get out of here and kind of go home, watch TV. That was my attitude. So he said, "Well, go to the back of the church and see the brother in the back, and he'll tell you what to do." So I got up and I start walking back there to the back, and brother, that's when it happened. I heard a voice, and it wasn't God. It was saying, you don't need to go back there. I said, yes, sir, I'm going back there. I was having a whole conversation. I said,
sidebar Satan, telling him not to do it.
Yeah, that spirit didn't want to let me go. And it said, you better not go back there. They're gonna stick needles in you and stuff.
Like him.
And know what I have a fear of. And I start shaking. My knees start buckling, and I bent over, and I couldn't stand up. I said, I'm a strong black man. I can stand up. I went and stood up, and the voice said, no, you ain't. And I went back down. I stood up, and I went back down. I said, dang. I said, when I get back here, and I saw the brother that I was looking at. I said, I'm gonna just knock him down and run out the back door. And that was my plan. So
salvation story.
Yeah, that was my salvation story. But when I got back to home and read the scriptures, all that stuff just jumped off me. I said, man, this stuff real. And for that, we've been on the same wavelength. And
that's awesome.
I tell you, man, those spirits, it's real. It's real.
And side note, even with both of you being believers, you're still individuals.
Yes.
And you're still processing. And so we'll be married 40 years come June 16th. Yep. And we have processed a lot.
Yeah, 40 acres of no mule.
You're so funny.
Awesome. Well, we will bring you all back. We're going to meet the buyers, but definitely thank you all for being on, and we will ask you all questions in just some moments. We'll be right with you. Okay. Now let's meet the Myers. Hey
Hello,
guys,
hello.
tell everybody who y'all are and how you all met.
Well, we are Rob and Tasha Myers. I would say we were in college sweethearts technically. When we met, I was a college senior. She was a college freshman. Um, and I had a dance group. And she came to an event. Some people had told her about the group, and she wanted to come check it out. So her first year, we danced together in the group that I had started. But my mom was already ready for graduation. So other people had kind of put a bug in my ear that they saw us together. Even I had family members who had met her and thought that we would be together, but I wasn't. I was just ready to graduate. I was ready to be done. And I guess there was some semblance of a kinship the spring semester of my senior year. And for whatever reason, it just kind of dwindled. I graduated and she thought I was just gonna be gone and not there. So she didn't know I stayed in the city. So when she came back the next year, she wasn't in the group anymore. But I was still overseeing the group, but from a distance because I wasn't an active student. I think there was a show and she happened to come to the show and she saw me dance. And she was like, not only is he still here, but like he's still active, like he's still doing stuff. We had an exchange then. It was a little awkward because she felt like I was supposed to tell her that I was still there. She said she called me in the summer, but I never got any of the messages. And so from there, we started to communicate. She came back to the group. And then there was some situations that happened with the people that I left in charge of the group, and they couldn't fulfill the duties anymore. And so she took over. And it began, I started feeling like if I could trust her that much, like with my baby, something I had started myself, she could be my wife. Like I could see this could work. And then it kind of formed from there.
I've never heard you say that before. Like,
I feel like we tell the story all the time, and I guess the details of the parts that we talk about are different every time we tell it. But
yeah, I mean that's really interesting. I appreciate hearing you tell that because in my mind there are still times, even though that was almost 20 years ago, I still hold on to. There are times where I'll call him for his birthday, and if I called him for his birthday, he surely had to remember mine because his birthday is July 4th and mine is July 6th. And so when I didn't get a call on my birthday, I was like, oh, I'm done. Screw him.
I was in New Orleans, so I didn't get any of those calls. I didn't see any of that.
That didn't matter. I was just like, I was done. So when I saw him, I was still in my feelings about that. So thinking that through all of that whole situation and how we actually got together as a couple, obviously I remember it because I was there. But hearing you say that, it changes how I remember that story. Like, I'm glad that we said that you would tell it because I think there's a part of me that's still a little bitter about it. So,
and we still together.
We're still together.
Yes.
So tell me how. Okay, we met. How did we get to? Okay, let's get married.
I think so. This is an ironic question, Jonathan. I don't even know if you know this part. But November 1st is the anniversary we celebrate because that's our dating anniversary. He came to my dorm room and like just wanted to talk. And to this day, I have no clue what he said to me. Like the conversation is just not with me. But like we were talking for hours for a long time. And I just remember the very next day, he dropped me off after practice. And he said, yesterday, I really wanted to kiss you. And me being my slick mouth, I was like, well, why didn't you? And he said he didn't know, and so he just grabbed me and kissed me, and it's weird to say the rest is literally history. And so in that
Then we started hiding for a while.
we did, like, it really was like nobody in the group realized that I got a haircut. I remember people coming like, wait, what is going on with Tasha? At one point in time, he gave me a hickey on my face. And I went to practice, and he like clowned me like with the other people, like, what is going on with Tasha? Like, she got hickeys on her face now. And I was just steaming because I'm like, dude, you put it there. Like, what is going on here?
You have to play the part. We're trying to blow your spot.
Well, I think you actually did though. But that's neither here nor there. But through that process, we were engaged very quickly on. And I think when we say we fell deep, I think we fell very quickly. Even to the point where my mom was really hesitant because it's like, I know y'all were friends and all, but now y'all talking about marriage. Like, we really kind of skipped over the kind of dating phase, because we had been friends for over a year. So we kind of known each other. But I think there are times where we look back now, and I think we had kind of been dating the whole time.
Yeah. It was like heavy courtship.
not really realizing it.
On courtship. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so y'all have been married how long now?
Almost 17. So it'll be 17 years in July.
All right. So tell the people. So your birthday's on the 4th. Your birthday's on the 6th. Tell the people what date is your marriage.
July 7th, 2007. So literally 777.
Go ahead.
Well, I'll tell this. Like, we weren't really planning it. Because our birthdays are right there together, we were like, okay, so let's get married on the 5th.
Well, the first Saturday in 2008.
No, well, because that was a thing. Because the 5th wasn't a Saturday until 2008, and we didn't want to wait. So we were like, okay, so let's just do the first Saturday in July. Then automatically it happened to be 7707. And even in that process, we ended up getting interviewed on the news and all of the different things for all of the folks who were getting married that day. And they were like, oh my goodness, like, you have to tell us your engagement story. And to this day, we have never told anybody how he proposed.
Because we said we wouldn't. So
we would keep it for ourselves. And we
still do.
That's still us.
So you can't like throw that out there and then be like, yeah, we're just going to end that right there. So you're not going to tell us. Like, what? How did you bring that up? What?
There was a ring, there were flowers, there was balloons.
Were there?
I don't know.
Don't you remember? The audience is like, we want to know. How y'all gonna be like, we had this.
Well, one thing I will say,
y'all can tell us. We won't tell anybody. I promise.
No, literally, the part that I will share. He proposed to me before we had a ring. Because what he told me was the fact that when I crossed the stage, he wanted me to have his last name. And I said yes. And we were gonna plan this like little courthouse type of thing. My mama was ready to come, and we were gonna do all of this. And then I checked in with the financial aid office, and I was like, wait, you gonna mess my coins up. So we literally decided to hold off. But it was a while later after that that he actually proposed with a ring. A story that we're still not gonna share.
The running joke is that I kind of proposed a few different times.
That's true. Yeah.
You proposed multiple times?
Yeah.
Did she say yes every time?
Yeah, for different reasons. Proposed for different reasons too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Again, I'm like, y'all, you gotta have my money right. Like I cannot. Because I was active on campus as a student leader and all of those types of things. So there was just so many situations where I have been blessed and recognized that as a first generation college student, I didn't know at that time how important having his name would be, right? And so that was just really important to him. I didn't really identify with my own my maiden name, so it was an easy thing to kind of let go. But now I'm forever Dr. Myers, and so having his name is even though that's an accomplishment that I earned, he definitely contributed to, but it still holds honor knowing that people call me Dr. Myers, which is still his name. So
You're welcome.
Awesome. Yeah. Not you're welcome. Now, again, you brought this up and then you just, leave us by the wayside. So since you all had multiple engagements, it was asked by the audience, can you tell us one of those multiple?
I think I just did. I'm saying, well, I'll give more details. Again, I'm still living in the dorm and he's sitting on my bed and he's looking at me and I'm like, what? And he's like, he has such beautiful eyes and I love to see the sunlight just like go through his eyes and like see all the color in it. And we're looking and I'm blushing because he's looking at me. And he's like, again, like, when you cross the stage, I want you to have my last name. And I literally in that moment, and maybe that was the first one. I think that was the first one. Where I honestly felt like this is it. This is it. I know he's gonna be my husband. I don't know when, I don't know how, but yeah, that's what it's gonna be. The funny part about it is when we told my mom that we were getting married, she wanted to tell the church of like they're not pregnant, they just getting married, and nobody really believed her because it just felt like, oh, they just getting married.
Shotgun wedding.
It's a shotgun wedding. This church girl all of a sudden get married all of a sudden. And so when we decided to wait, they're like, oh, okay, so maybe she's not pregnant. I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, that came a long time later.
Yes. 7 years later, to be exact.
Oh, wow. What, the babies or the marriage?
The babies.
Oh, okay.
So seven is an important number in our relationship for obvious reasons. It had got to the point where people had started asking us, oh, do y'all not want kids? Because a lot of people will say, like, oh, you should wait 3 to 5 years before you start having kids. And after that 3 to 5 years came and went, people are, oh, okay, yeah, because y'all don't want kids. And it's just like, yeah, we do. In all honesty, we wasn't doing anything to prevent them. So the fact that they weren't coming, we thought we weren't gonna get them. And so
we had just finally become content with the idea that maybe we won't have kids.
Mm-hmm. And then there was Jackson. And we were like, oh, okay, it took us 7 years to get him. And so he's just gonna be the only one. And then 2 years later, here's Taj. So yeah.
Love it. I love it. Okay.
Yes, and we're done. There's no more. Like people keep talking about y'all should make a few more because no.
The factory is closed.
Absolutely closed, burned down, and everything.
Awesome. Well, we are glad to meet the Myers. I'm gonna bring both couples up so we can have some questions. Let's see if I can do this differently.
That works.
That works.
Okay.
Yep.
You don't need to see me.
Yes, it's your show.
You're the host.
Look, I want people. All right. Listen. All right. So let's talk. I had some questions for the couples. What would you all say was your preparation for marriage? I'll let the Perrys go first.
That's why we need those wise people in our lives.
Yeah.
Both of us, our parents were married. My transparency, my parents worked a lot and all the time, and my by the time my father recognized about enjoying his marriage, he had gotten sick, and it was almost time for him to go. I didn't want that. And let me say, women, we're raised about the babies, we got the stove, the baby dolls, all that. Men are not raised like that. And so we just, I know for me, we just, we had to take the pony by the neck and ride with it because he was in the military. And so I had to get wisdom. Like I said, I always reach back to my mother. I thank God for my relationship with my mother and my father, because my father definitely asked me, do you understand what it means to be married to a man in the military? And I was like, yeah, ain't no big deal. Yes, it was. And we waited 2 years before we had children. I was like, whoa, this is different. As soon as we got married, he had to go away.
Yeah, we waited 2 years and all of that, and that was a long 2 years. But
yeah, he was ready right away. I was like, hold up, I don't know you like that. Wait a minute.
We really didn't have no rules. we really didn't have any rules, and during the time in between, I didn't have no birthday, whatsoever, because I'm a February 29 baby.
Yeah, so, he got a birthday this year.
So I got birthday every 4 years. So all the little events and stuff it was foreign to me, and there were no rules whatsoever.
You talking about your upbringing?
Yeah, Mom. Yeah,
we had rules in our marriage.
Yeah.
What you mean?
It was like I was brought up by a pack of wolves. We didn't have no no rules. You come home anytime you want. You can go anywhere you want. I see you 2 weeks later or whatever. Okay, you're back. I ain't have no rules, and she had all the rules and stability, and her family was so loving that she actually talked to her siblings every day, and I was so jealous of that because I was like, shoot, my people would call me or something about every 3 to 4 months, or
but you would talk to your mom more often.
Yeah, every now and then I talk to my mom every now and then, but as far as me and my brothers talking, we go years without talking. It was no pack of wolves. It was no. It was no. It was no togetherness like that. Like we had to be around each other or socialize. It's like you're born, you grow up, and then like an animal, you cast out, go, go or die. And then I met her and her family, and they were so family oriented. I was like, wow. I was like,
and I got jealous at Christmas because the first Christmas they gave him a lot of stuff. I'm like, hold up, he's tapping into my stuff. But my parents embraced him like a son. I was very blessed that him and my father had an amazing relationship.
Yeah, I was closer to her father than I was my own. So,
wow. Yeah, you get through that. You know.
Yeah, I would call her father before I called mine. I mean, we got long conversations, and or we could talk about anything. But me and my father were like, okay.
That's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah, that's another one. Okay.
Very dysfunctional. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. Well, Myers, tell us how did you all prepare for marriage?
I think for us, we knew from the beginning like it was about the marriage and not the wedding. It was easy because we were so young and we were kind of the first ones of our friend groups to get married. Everybody wanted to have opinions about what kind of wedding they wanted us to have and where it should be. And it's like they got lost in the wedding more than we did.
Yeah, absolutely.
But because we were such good friends, it was like, I don't really care what we do as long as we together doing it. I mean, we got caught up like watching all the different, wedding preparation shows, and but as far as preparing for the marriage itself, we just wanted to stay friends. That was always central for us.
I think it's interesting. I didn't date a lot in high school or really in college. Before
I
him,
swooped in and messed that up.
Well, but I mean, I often got from guys that I wasn't the girlfriend type. I was the marrying kind, and I didn't. I think I kind of understand what that means now. But then it didn't really compute to me, and so I felt like I could have been ready because I mean, since I was a teenager, guys had been telling me that I was wifey, or could be somebody's wifey, not they wifey, but just somebody's. But one of the things that I found, because I had been raised by all very strong women, like my senior year in high school, literally 4 generations of women in the house. I didn't know the stereotypical, oh, you got to cook dinner for your man. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, you have to do this. Like, I didn't see that. And so really trying to figure it out for us. I remember after we moved to Georgia and the computer like exploded almost, the tire was flat, and we trying to drive from Gwinnett County all the way to Athens, Georgia. It was absolutely insane. And I do remember sitting there crying in my t-shirt and panties, like, I want to go home. And Rob told me in that moment, you are home. And every time we've moved since then, I've never thought about the physicality of the place being home, but for me, he's home. So wherever we are together, that's when I know I'm home. And I think that that's how you really prepare mentally for marriage, to understand that you have to prepare for the relationship, and figure out what works best for you. Like, he's the one who cooks most often. In some cases, I'm a mess. Like, I'm gonna take off my clothes and throw it on the chair, right? He's probably gonna hang his stuff up, or not. My closet's color coded too, but he's gonna iron for the week. I would, if it was just me, I wouldn't own an iron. So like, it's one of those things of really trying to figure out what works for us and not watching other people's marriages, and judging ours against their metric, because it probably would never work.
Awesome. We have a question from the audience. That would be Pete Thims, which is Director Ebony. How do you keep it together and stay committed in this world where the devil is always trying to destroy marriage? These young people today don't believe in anything anymore. So how would you say you stay committed? How do you stay committed? For people that are watching that feel like, you know what, everybody's cheating.
I would say it's the 2 things that we said. One is that's my friend. My friend first. Like, we were friends first. And 2, we don't get caught up in what other people are doing. How other people run their relationships and their marriages, and like we're not concerned with it. Like, we do what works for us. We check in with each other, and we make our own rules.
Yeah, I think the piece that I'll add to that is we said we wasn't breaking up. Like, and ironically, we said pretty early on that infidelity wasn't a deal breaker for us. We knew that because we're not breaking up, that means whatever happens, we gonna stay together. Not saying that has ever happened, but knowing that divorce isn't an option for us, I think has bing something that we've kind of agreed on. So even when we have fights, it's like, is this a deal breaker? Well, no. Okay, well, I'm just mad at you right now. But you right, and give it, like, sleep on it, and the next morning we'll like figure it out because we're not breaking up. And talking to unmarried people, it's pee in the dating pool. Like, I ain't trying to be out there. Like,
Hello.
it is crazy. So I'm
Yes.
like, no, I'm not doing that. Because again, I feel for it, because there's a lot of people out there who want love. And I firmly believe in love and want people to find love, but I will admit I am spoiled with the fact that I've been married this long, because oof.
And then you have to, like, I like what the couple said, your friends. I know who I'm with when I'm with him. I am covered and I know I'm protected. He set that standard when we first got married by putting me on everything. His actions spoke volume.
Have no money to go nowhere.
But correct. but we set out in the beginning that divorce was never an option. My husband told me, he said, I don't ever want to hear that word. That's off the table for us. However, we did set those things that's a do not do. Okay. So there wasn't a thing like, I didn't know that was a deal breaker. Yeah, that's a deal breaker.
I know I stood in front of God and said my wedding vows, and I took it personal and committed to it, and cutting going off the left field and all that wasn't an option. I always went to that scenario of Custer's last stand. They said that Custer fought, and me and fought all the way to the end, and they were so brave and stand there and sacrifice themselves. But if you are like a cat and you in insurmountable odds like that and you can't get away, you will fight to the end and pull up a fight, because there's no escape. I cut off every avenue of escape and say, hey, we in it for the long haul.
Yes.
Yeah.
And and even when you have, listen, temptation is going to always be there.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's be 1,000. I had someone tell me, said they had a calendar to give me with Denzel. I said, Denzel ain't my husband. I don't need to be looking at him every day. I have a calendar of my husband at my desk. Okay, because you don't want to do that. You get yourself in trouble because you can't see. I don't care how saved you are. You can see.
Yeah.
But
okay.
In life, it's like a man in the backyard doing the grass. And he said, hey, my neighbor's yard, I'm looking over my neighbor's yard, his grass look more greener than mine. That means he used more manure on it than you did. And you need to just fly that to yours for your grass to get greener. If that man yard and stuff over there look better than yours, that means you got do more effort in your yard.
And you're gonna have trials. Come on now,
That's right.
You're gonna have things. You make me mad. I don't like you. I don't want to see you today. I'm gonna take the long way home because I don't want to be bothered.
Right.
Come on now. Even though we love each other, you have those moments now.
And to keep it 100, one of the first things I did, pastor is not in the bedroom. Whatever. Don't get religious.
Right.
No, I'm sorry. My Bible said the bedroom is undefiled.
Yeah, don't get religious. Don't get religious in the bedroom and have those discussions, honest discussions.
That's right.
And come to a conclusion about it, and that's it.
Something you touched on made me remember that one of the things that we talked about early on was that wherever we were going to land after marriage, it was not going to be in either one of our home cities, because young couples would run back home. I'll go back to my mama's house. Well, what we're going to do is move to a new place where you can't run back to your mama's house. We just got to sit here and figure it out.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that built trust for us very early on, that we had to go to each other. And I like how you talked about security. We also have joint accounts, so there is no money off on the side. And I know a lot of people do that, but we decided that we just weren't going to. But for me, professionally, I make a lot of decisions all day long. And when I come home, I need to be secure enough with who I'm with that I don't have to worry about making those decisions. And in all honesty, I know that I am spoiled rotten because he takes care of me.
Absolutely.
And we leave the house and all I have is my phone because I know whatever happens, he got me, right? Like
Yes.
I watched a TikTok where somebody was talking about that. All I got is lip gloss in my phone because you don't have any concerns for that. But I will say that trust has to be important. That even to somebody who talked about, you know, going through trial and error. I mean, everybody has it. But some of it is just really recognizing, is it the right person? Because sometimes it's not the marriage, it's the person.
That's right.
And I was very, very blessed to have him.
Yes.
But I prayed for him. Like I knew he needed to be tall. I knew he needed to be heavy. I knew, but I mean, literally, I feel like Sierra, like I had the list. I had a whole list. I knew I had to like his eyes, even down to the very specific piece of his nails. Like I knew that I wanted a man that had pretty hands. And when I mean, seriously,
I didn't even know that's what I had.
but I think knowing that there are so many aspects where he has me taken care of because I know that he is the man God wanted me to marry. And that makes all the difference in the world. All the difference in the world.
So how do you all feel? You know, I talk to couples all the time, and a lot of times, you know, we're excited, we're into each other, we're having sex all the time, then we get married and those things stop. Things get vanilla. Things How do you all keep things spicy in your marriage?
I know.
Are you all making sure that you keep things?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, we ain't never got left spot where it never,
I was thinking the same thing.
where it never cooled off yet.
Like, what's that?
Because you get married, now it's guilt free.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think
the
the only thing is logistics, because when you got young kids, like, so now,
Fine time.
yes, or like be sure that you lock the door. Like normally, like when it was just us, I mean, it's just us, so you do what you do. Like it don't matter if the door wide open. Well, now it's like we're not trying to have those conversations. So you got to be like, oh, you got to get up and lock the door. Oh no, you go get up and lock the door, hoping that locking the door don't like mess up the mood. But in that, I'm like not, yeah.
Look at this.
Yeah, you got to find each other still attractive. You know, I remember that in church, you know how the pastor said, turn to your neighbor. See, my daughter said they have absolutely no problem with that.
I mean, I hate to say it, especially when the pastor say touch your neighbor.
Turn to your neighbor and your husband go to a whole movie screen. You're like, he said, what? Okay, well, we know what's going down when we get out of church, okay?
Well, I had the perfect cure for all that. It's right here.
They can't see all that, baby.
Oh.
Right there. Right there. Please call close the time when we return. You know, that right there.
He had no shame, Lord Jesus.
Yep,
it was me.
Hang it right outside the house door, or hang it right outside the bedroom.
Right.
At a certain time. Please call again. Yep.
But one thing I will say, when it has been a little while, we fight more when we haven't been intimate as regularly. And I found that sometimes it's like, are you mad or you just, you know, in need? Like and so I think having that time to be intimate with one another keeps us connected. Even in the means of, again, like sometimes, it is sending the kids outside. I think is the little thing is harder is knowing your kids. I would say both of our kids got special needs. There are times we joke and be like, we may be cousins somewhere in there. because they wouldn't respect that sign. Or if they saw that clothes come again, right? They like, oh, well, mommy, what are you doing?
Right.
Changing the time is like, oh, oops, the time has changed. Or like teaching him to knock. He knocks while
As
he's
he's coming
opening the
in.
door, not like waiting for it to answer. So really trying to balance that. But even he's getting older and he keeps asking us, oh, I know what you all are doing in there. You're in there Frenching.
I love it. What could
Yes.
you all give?
Yes, we are.
I love it. What could you all pointers to give couples that are watching to kind of keep things lively or spicy or better their relationship?
know who you're with. You understand? You've got to be able to look at this person and still they make you smile, they make you laugh, you get that feeling. Even like for me as a 61-year-old woman, you know, you go through menopause. However, you don't get to subtract out of that and not be make love with your spouse. You got to know who you're married to. So you got to figure out, okay, what works for me that would want me to make love, to be intimate, have fun, because these things are going to happen in our lives. You know, things happen when you have serious illnesses and things of that nature. And I'll share this on this platform. I won after I had my youngest daughter in 1990. I started having seizures. And then they came to a place where they was grand mal. I share with my husband, and to God be the glory, I haven't had any more seizures for 15 years. However, I tell him I love him because he never changed in that process. He never changed. I felt so good. I felt covered. I felt like, you know, coming out of a seizure and you hear your husband praying over you and taking care of you where he's been up since 4 o'clock that morning. Those are the moments that I remember a lot in our relationship, that he covered me. That is so vital for a woman. Is
Oh,
to know she
absolutely.
is covered.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I
work.
can relate to that a lot because I have multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed about a year after our daughter was born. But what I didn't realize was we were kind of seeing all the signs going up to it. And it's something that I still struggle with from time to time. And knowing that, you know, losing all of my mobility, like literally having him wheel me into doctor's offices, or when I had my hysterectomy this year, because
Last year, not
well,
almost a
it
year
is, I
ago.
guess that's right, last year, that it was important for me to even go through that process because I realized that I was sick more often than I was well. And I think the caretaker in him took over. And as much as he was taking care of me, we had to also come to the conversation of recognizing that I wasn't his patient, I was still his wife. I was still a woman, and I wanted him to see me as a woman and not just as somebody he was taking care of. And I think that has helped us a lot. So even when we don't have those opportunities to be sexually intimate, we graze each other and have that intimacy in those types of moments. Or, you know, don't let me mess around and take something out the oven because I'm gonna get groped. And that
Right.
again, like, or that whole, you know, touch a neighbor, it might be my thigh, right? Like, so really trying to make sure that you're staying connected through it all. And knowing the fact that, again, I like, you're a good guy.
Well, now we work on the same campus, so we get to ride to work together, so we can have conversations after the kids are dropped off and go to school that we didn't used to be able to do. We can date in the middle of the day because the kids are at school.
Yes.
You gotta find time.
Wait till you become empty nesters.
Woo!
You never wear clothes again.
Any time, any place, baby.
There you go.
my daughters, we tell them, hey, call before you come,
Right,
Right.
exactly.
you know, and they're very respectful of that because I'm very open with my daughters. You know how you got here? And
Yeah.
my oldest daughter's on here, so she know.
You have entered the merit zone.
Yes.
So,
Absolutely.
would you all find it important to, in telling people that it's important, even though you all both have been married for years, that it's important to continue to date?
Oh,
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
clearly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's nothing like my husband will show up at my job with flowers and or he like, the drink I like from Starbucks. And I've had people in my office and he come up to me, I tell him, excuse me, oh baby, thank you so much. But that sets a tone for the day. I tell couples, men, y'all ready at any time. But we as women, you have to kind of work with us, and it starts in the morning, it starts in the beginning, how you set that temperature for the day. And
Yes.
so when he does these or surprise text messages, he'll say, hey, I'm under your desk. And so when I look at my phone, I'm like, oh my gosh. But these are the things that it keeps your marriage exciting.
Yes. I would say you have to keep dating because you change, right?
Yes.
And so
Mhm.
you have to get to know the person that you're married to now,
Yeah, be
because that's
checking.
not that's not the same
Mhm.
person you actually married. So you've had different experiences and so many things. And then you get to have fun. Like sometimes, married life is making sure all the bills are paid or calling a plumber. Like sometimes it can get mundane, boring, but the relationship doesn't have to. But one of the things that I think I'm gonna brag on you, and she's talking about bringing flowers in Starbucks. He was in Dollar General buying me eyelash glue. And so many people would be like, what? But I had kept talking about, I love makeup. I love wearing makeup, but I needed more eyelash glue. And so I hadn't been wearing lashes with my makeup. And he was just like, I'm going to get it for you. But here in the store, literally like, which one you want? Because I don't know what this stuff is. And so to me, I was really honored. Like it could have been a dozen roses. Like it just really meant that he had been listening and
Yes.
he knew what it meant to me and took the time to actually do it. And that just shows how I was being thought of and being taken care of. So I would say know your partner and know what's that Starbucks and flowers for them. Because I'm still on a high from that eyelash glue because it means something to me that
Yes.
like
Yes.
I just love it.
Okay, 2 more questions. And so, what advice would you give to newlyweds or couples navigating through difficult times?
I would definitely encourage getting professional counseling. Let's start there. Discover what the challenge is. And perhaps, God has many ways of helping us. What we have discovered with couples that God has graced us to encounter is that everyone had to take accountability of themselves. Stop the blame game. You're responsible for you and what you're doing. And so if you work on you, then that other person, that's up to them whether they want to work on themselves. You can't make a person change.
I would say also to do the bag ministry.
The
bag ministry is you take a small bag, and in this bag you put everything in there. She put everything in there that pisses her off. He puts everything in there that pisses him off on a little note, and then you put things in there like what you like. She put in there what she likes, and then you pour it out, and then you take it and you discuss about it, like being on time. Okay, are we gonna keep this? We're gonna keep being late, or are we gonna change everything in the house so that we will be on time together? And then you decide whether or not you're gonna keep it or not. And if you're gonna keep it, being late. You put it in the bag that said we were always going to be late, and then you walk in agreement into that. And then you take a note out. Surprise my wife at work. Okay, we're going to keep that. You put it in there, and then you put in there. I'm a bad cook. I'm gonna keep burning the food. Okay, you throw that out. You throw that out, and then what you have left, the stuff you have left in the bag ministry that you're gonna keep, you work on that every day, and therefore your marriage will get better. Don't keep the same old habits.
So again, I'm going to ditto the therapy. I know, especially in the Black community, we have like, oh, take it to Jesus. Well, Jesus told you to take it to that therapist, right? Right. So, I mean, and because a lot of times the things that you're dealing with, I love how she talked about it, like, what are you really fighting about? Because sometimes the root cause is far greater than you might realize.
Right.
And so that's an important thing to really do the work to unpack and figure out what it is. The other thing I would say is keep other people out your business. Because when you upset and you go to somebody and they everything you say, you're marinating in your anger or your bitterness or whatever negative emotion that you have, and now it's only amplified. And now they've seen you have that response.
Well, because they're looking for cracks and flaws.
Right. Just because, like, for whatever reason, because you, like, they sitting there having popcorn on you, right? Like, but when you're ready to move on and forgive, they're going to keep bringing back, oh, well, you know, he did XYZ, and oh, don't forget he was like such and such and such, or she said whatever. And while you're working on your relationship, you don't need all the other voices in that. And so I think that's a really important aspect.
You're trying to get that bag.
And I will say this about what I see in our young culture. On both sides, you have a lot of them that have not dealt with childhood traumas. Situations that they came up with, then they go marry someone and they have these scars that they haven't dealt with. That's why you're finding these young men keep talking about submission. I've had to tell several of them, listen, you don't have to tell her anything about submission if she knows she's covered.
Yes, absolutely. I had a
soldier that came to us. She would have a problem in the marriage, and she said, and I really spoke to her, and she said, well, we go there, we have fight, we fight, and then after that we make love, because that's what I saw my parents do. And she thought that was the norm of the marriage, is to start a fight, and then after that go make love, and that became the norm. And see, you got to set your own values in the marriage. What worked for one marriage might not work for the other.
And absolutely. I mean, I'll be vulnerable enough to know, and even share this when you're talking about childhood trauma. Literally traumatic situation of the fact that I grew up knowing that my father didn't want me. And so it was one of those aspects of recognizing that he was a member of the same church. So literally saw me, and I said earlier, being this church girl, saw me every single Sunday of my life, and wanted nothing to do with me. And so again, being around all of these strong women, I was very much so ready to be in a place where I didn't need a man, because clearly, like, what is a man to me? Like somebody who don't want me. And so even now in our relationship, there's still times where I feel insecure about, why do you even like me like that? And I recognize that I am still hearing the voice of 10-year-old me who crying because her daddy don't want her, right? And in our relationship, I have to realize that he is not my dad, and he can't heal that wound, and I can't expect him to be able to come in and feel that. I have to just be confident in the fact that he does want me, and knowing the fact that we say we in this together, so there's nothing I can do that is going to change his mind. And if I know that I'm secure in that, I can work on my own stuff, recognizing that that's my stuff, and I can't bring my stuff into our relationship
Mhm.
because it won't ever get solved with us because it's mine.
Yeah, I can relate to that because you had it from the female end. I had it from the male end because my father didn't care for me. And later on, I found out that wasn't my father. So that played really hell growing up because I could never do nothing to please them. And then they go and had the audacity to die. and then I find out. So who do you ask? It don't do no good to take it to the grave. Because when you take it to the grave, you only have questions.
And we had to go to therapy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're good. Jesus is Lord over here.
Mm-hmm.
But we had to go and get therapy once he found out who his actual biological father was.
Yeah. You'd be like, God, did you know about that? Why did you?
Right? Why you didn't tell me?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
right? Like, why?
A
Why
burning
didn't
bush.
you tell me?
What that burning bush say that?
But you know what I tell my husband? I said, you are the testimony where sometimes in church they give men passes because they didn't grow up with a father.
But the women don't get no pass.
And so he never treated me and our daughters like where he came from.
Mm-mm.
So that's called a choice.
It's part of the wolf pack.
Y'all are blessing the people in the audience. I promise you that. I promise you that. Another question. What role does communication and trust play in your relationship, and how do you nurture these aspects?
Ooh. Wow.
I recognized who I was married to in the beginning. Going back to that, he put everything on the table. Look, I ain't have nothing to put on the table because I was partying and smoking pot all the time. So I ain't have nothing to put on the table. I'm the youngest of the family, and so I came with me. However, the wisdom from my father that really it spoke to me constantly that he don't do broke. You know, these were things my father picked up in his spirit about my husband. And so I never wanted to violate that trust because I recognize I got one time with you to mess up these finances. You ain't gonna be on nothing. And praise God, you know, I've been working in finances for over 30 years. However, I trust him because he made me feel secure. I can't even describe it. When he's been gone to Korea and gone to war and away from us for a year or months, I never was the wife calling the unit to is my husband really in the field, you know, and all that, because I just felt comfortable. I felt very safe. He did not give me a reason not to trust him.
And every time I won on a lottery ticket, hey, the money I got from that, I always brought it back to her. I said, hey, look, put it in our hands, hundreds of dollars.
Because I'm a circulated.
Yeah, put it in our hand and all, because it's not my money, it's our money, and I didn't try to hide it. Only one time I tried to hide it to surprise her, and she sniffed it out. I couldn't keep those secrets from her. No secrets.
But the closeness has been developed over the 40 years. It didn't, you know, in the beginning, you're still getting to know each other, you know? And so just looking at the track record, everything hasn't been perfect. Praise God, you know, everything has been perfect. However, I didn't want to be with no one else. He's it.
Yeah.
Myers?
I think for us, we saw very low lows early on. And it made us kind of question, particularly with young people. I think that when you get married, you're waiting for the thing to whatever the mess up is going to be. Like you're just waiting for whatever that shoe to drop. you're not even focused on the things that are going right. You're just waiting for something to go wrong and say, yep, that's it. That's that thing. Now I'm getting a divorce. I was waiting on that thing. Here it happened. Now I'm done. I think we had so many things early on, just life thrown at us real early on in our marriage, just exposed and awkward and vulnerable. Like it only got better. And it makes it like thinking back now, like from back then, like
yeah, I mean it really was a lot. Like even knowing how my mom was, how sick she was, and when she died 2 years after we got married, family stuff got weird because death makes it brings out the worst in people. And so having to kind of deal with all of those things, and I think from a communication standpoint of rarely is there a day where we don't at least text each other throughout the day, or I saw this and I thought about you, or I just want to know what you're doing. But especially before we started working on the same campus, it took us a minute to understand when I asked, oh, how was your day? And he's like, oh, it was fine. I'm like, no, tell me like what you did, like give me details. But it took us getting to the point of really saying, what is the expectation of what you're looking for when you say this? Because sometimes people are talking, but you don't really but that doesn't necessarily mean they're communicating. And so I think that's a really important piece that we worked on. And just really getting to know each other well enough to know that I'm a list maker. And so when we're packing, Rob was like, he wants to pack 2 weeks early for the trip. That's not me. But I'm not gonna leave nothing because it's all on my list, right? And so based on that, you have to get to know, just like they talked about, know who you're married, because sometimes earlier on that was a fight because he want to know why I'm not getting my stuff 2 weeks early. And in that, it's just like, so sometimes it's not even what's always said, but what doesn't have to be said, because you're taking that time to learn who your partner is.
Oh yeah.
And I want to encourage people, everybody come with something. Okay.
Yeah,
there's nobody that's perfect, and so you just I was blessed because we weren't saved when we got married. It wasn't no seeking Jesus or none of that. It was sex, and I loved him. He was fine, and I listened to my parents. Okay. So but you have to understand that everybody come with something.
Yeah.
And so when you're in that stage, I like, me and my daughters talk a lot. You just, okay, this person got this, that, and the third. You have your standard, they have their standard. Just see if that's your person.
Yeah. Don't treat each other like TV marriages.
Yeah.
With all the fancy cars and mansions and all
they
that.
Broke.
Yeah, they broke and all like that. All that drama. That just make believe. It ain't no husband of Hollywood type thing.
But just be honest with one another. And I'm telling you, down through the years, things change.
Yeah.
And you just have to talk and have conversations and see what way, we can work it this way. Because I'm not 21-year-old Donna. Okay.
Right.
I'm not 21. However, we have fun.
Yeah. And I never been on a guy trip, and she never been on a girls trip.
No, he ain't a fan.
I'm not a fan, but we always like being around each other.
Yeah, I love being around him.
Yeah. I can't wait for you to get off the work.
Yeah, he's retired twice. And so he makes sure the home is clean and everything is taken care of. So when I come in, and check this out, ladies, I know my husband, even though I've been to work all day, I know his love language is he loved my salad that I make with fresh salmon. How about he gonna get that?
Hey, yes, sir.
Because he sowed them seeds for future needs.
Before we get out of here, I'll ask each couple. I'll start with the Myers on something that you can tell. Oh, well, first, before I do that, we had a question on do you all have good resources for marriage counseling or therapy?
In that, I would say the first step is like even checking with your employer to find out what resources that you have available to you. Because for us, we realized that any mental health therapy or whatnot is covered at 100%. And so because of that, when I was looking for a therapist, I looked them up and I knew for sure that I wanted a Black woman. And so I went to 2 different Black women, and they talk about like it takes 3 sessions before you really connect with somebody to know if that's your person or not, from a therapy standpoint. And I did. I had auditions because again, I had the benefit, it was covered. So in that, I was able to choose a therapist for me that I'm able to go to during the workday, because it was hard enough, and I probably wasn't in therapy when I should have been, because I would never take the time for me, because I felt like, oh, I'm taking care of the kids or I'm doing something with him. Like there was always a reason why I didn't have time for that. And I was able to find a therapist that I could do virtual with. And so as opposed to taking a lunch break, I'm in therapy.
I think both of us found it important to have therapy during the workday, as opposed to trying to find time at night or on the weekends. We both have jobs where we were able to do that. And I think sometimes it's even better, because sometimes you need to cut that workday in half and just say, I need to regroup right now. I can't wait till 5 o'clock. I need to do it right.
Yes.
We spoke with our mentor, Dr. Austin, and she's a counselor, but she recommended Dr. Cochran for us, because we had a counselor, Tiffany Hodges, which she's amazing.
Oh yeah, she'll cut you.
But Dr. at the time when my husband found out who his biological father was, at that point he needed a male. And like you all are stating, you got to find the one that connects with you. And he was able to share his journey with his father. And he gave us awesome wisdom for my husband to process that. And we still go.
Yeah.
And so we don't actually have a marriage counselor. Like we don't have therapy together, but we have therapy individually, and that helps us again deal with our own stuff, right? So that in our relationship, when we are even talking with one another, that we're not working out our own mess on again each other, and taking responsibility for, like, you got to be a better person, right? You can't just sit in this and not take responsibility for the changes that you need to make.
And I'll say this here about a counselor: always helpful to pick the right one. And church counselors, I kind of like discourage married couples from going to that, because you might be the subject of next week's sermon.
Oh Lord.
Or it may be pro-female or pro-male, and get somebody neutral. Not saying that every church counselor is like that, but you have to separate the two, because
letters in the front.
because you don't want to be sitting there and what you talked about is this week's sermon.
And disclaimer, my husband and I have not experienced that with our pastor.
No, we haven't. But I have seen it.
Let me say that.
Right.
Right. We have not experienced that with our pastor.
No, we haven't figured it out. But I have seen it in past churches that we have been to. I have seen that happen.
But you need to be able to go in there and truly talk and get professional help.
I was going to say professional is a real part of that.
Because, a lot of times with our couples, that you're telling a young lady or young man to stay in a marriage where they're being abused, and telling them to trust God, and they're getting their eye blackened. No. That's how people end up dead in their sleep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was literally, like, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like, you need a professional, because you can go to your girlfriend and talk about it, but your girlfriend doesn't understand the theory behind psychological development. They can't pick out when there's childhood trauma that you're dealing with as an adult. They don't have that knowledge base. And sometimes I would say some church counselors don't have that knowledge base either.
Exactly.
Right. And so when you're saying a professional, you're going to somebody licensed, who has been schooled and knowing that this is where their area of expertise is, because in essence, you're trusting them with your stuff and you want to know that they know what to do with it.
Yes.
And that friend might be advise you to leave and all like that. And next thing you know, that friend be in your house.
Hello.
Right.
They went right.
Yeah. And looking at y'all's relationship, I'll start with the Perrys this time. What would you say to someone watching that either wants to be married, somebody that may feel like, I've done all I can in the marriage? What is it, something that you can say that has truly worked for you guys?
I would say have a list when you get ready to pick someone. Don't pick them because of lust. Pick them because they're the ones that you can build a future with. And they are a person that you can trust. They are a person that's, how you say it, isn't going to disappear when times get tough. I always think about the Gail Deaver story. She was a sprinter and she got sick. And her husband, first thing her husband said, I can't take it no more, I just left her. And is that person going to be with you when that sickness comes or that hard time comes? Or are they going to split and just leave you in the middle of the desert? Or when times are good, are they going to be the ones that are going to take everything and leave? Because in the military, we had many instances where the wives got rid of the husband to get the money, to get the insurance money. There was a lot of that going on, or a lot of them just married just to get the extra money a month.
And I would say this as well: just be honest. That's a lot of times, when you see a person been married 25, 30 years and they say we're getting a divorce.
Yep.
And I've had, I've talked with people and they say, oh, we was having problems at year 10. We was actually having problems and we're sleeping in separate rooms at 10. You've got to sit down and have those talks.
Yep.
You really, truly do. And I mean, it may seem like it hurt the person's feelings. However, you're being open and honest and transparent. So make sure that you are that you create a safe space for that person to come and talk with you, and that person should do the same for you as well.
Yeah, don't turn that woman in for a Porsche.
You're gonna break down.
Myers?
Yeah, I'll speak to the folks who want to be married. I think in that you got to know what you want and why you want to be married. Like, do you want to be married simply because everybody else is married? Because I don't think that's a good reason to be married. And if you're looking for companionship, you can get that in a cat. I mean, you really have to know why you want to get married and be in the places where you want that person to be. Right. Like, obviously, I know there's a lot of dating on like apps and different things of that nature. But at the same time, go to a bookstore, like browse in different situations, recognize that you can meet people in the grocery store, be willing to be vulnerable, to put yourself out there. And I know it's one of those things where people talk about from the Bible verse of, the husband finding the wife and finds a good thing. But at the same time, scripture talks about Ruth like laying at Boaz's feet. Like,
sometimes you gotta stumble in front of us.
Right. Like, exactly. You can't just be sitting at home waiting on your Boaz. Like, you gotta be out in the fields, like getting work done, taking care of business. And so that you can be willing to be ready to engage in that relationship. No, I'm not saying the book. I'm saying,
she's saying that's what a man is.
I'm saying, right. Like, if I wanted a man who was well read. You know, I'm not gonna meet him at the club. Like that's not like you gotta make it make sense. And so when you're going to the bookstore, that's an opportunity. If you see that dude in the bookstore, you know you already got something in common, right? And so it's an opportunity. Boaz was not literally Boaz, your Boaz. But at the same time, she didn't say that was off the table. I mean, so you have to know what it is that you want so that you're not out here wasting people's time. And if you kind of living in you're living in your season and you want to be for the streets, but don't be talking about, oh, I want to be married, because you don't really want to be married. You want to be for the streets. So it's you got to be able to put the work in to know what that looks like. And again, I'm an introvert myself, and that's why I'm saying, like, you got to find quiet places to date. And if you see somebody at Home Depot, that means they got a home. So you got to really think through, and they handy, and they got some means, or they trying to figure some stuff out, even if they asking the people in the orange apron. Like, you got to be able to put yourself in those particular places where you're not out here in the meat market just like everybody else. So again, it's really being able to genuinely connect with people and be honest, right? So if you know that somebody oh my goodness, y'all are taking these analogies so far. But you gotta know what you want, so when you see it, you know what it is. You know what it is when you see it.
And you never know when a person is looking. It's just like how my husband saw me hanging out of Wendy's window. You don't know.
Or you might get beat on the basketball court like I did.
and also I would tell I was telling a young lady this the other day. You as a woman, do you know when you're changing your last name, you need to understand what you're changing your last name to. What does that mean? What is that? What's behind that last name? And for the young man, he needs to understand, do he have what it takes to cover who he is wanting to marry? So you both have to ask yourself those questions.
Yeah.
You know, you got to get past fine and all that, because you know, you really do. You have to really get down to, who is this person?
And you got to look and see that y'all believe in the same thing. He might believe in the Satanism and the salon. That might be fine, but they like the devil. You got to leave him alone there.
But do you all find it, you know, I hear you talking about and talk to other couples. Do you all find it is important to be sexually attracted to your mate?
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Oh my God, I'm like,
shoot. Oh no, I'm okay. I'm gonna tell you, me and my husband had a talk before we got married, and our thing was, hey, that stomach dropping on your thighs, they ain't working. Okay.
Yeah, look down, be able to see your toes.
Right. So, but you know what? That was an honest conversation.
Yeah.
You understand? And I had C-sections with both of my girls. Okay. And so, of course, my stomach is not a size 30, but I needed to work on some things. And so that was just an honest conversation we had. And see, sometimes people be like, no, you got to take me the way I am. No, they don't. Because I got to look at you. You got to look at me.
No, you can't have no false teeth now. Hold up.
Shoot, I got to look at you and be like, dang, you fine. You know, because that's how I look at him.
I mean, that is so important. I mean, I joke all the time and say I'm an independent woman until my husband walk in the room, because I'm telling you, like, people can't say his name without me blushing, like, or knowing that he likes colognes. So when he spray his cologne, oh my gosh, just the smell of it alone. So it's not just the visual attractiveness, it's all of the other aspects to it. And knowing because he likes cologne, he'll wear a cologne and it lasts, not only does it last all day, but in the night. So I'm smelling him in the middle of the night. Like that thing, it hits right. Okay. And so in that, you have to know how to be attractive and outside of just your appearance, because over time your appearance will change. And so you have
But
to.
ours got better.
It did. I will admit. I love this bald head and the beard. Like it's.
See that girl? Okay.
Yes. Yes. So again, it's one of those things, because again, like you say, temptation is out there, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't really see other guys because I know what I got, right? And he put it on me good, so I don't have to worry about any of them. And so if somebody is trying to talk to me, I know what I got, right? And so it's one of those things where I ain't looking for nothing else. What else can somebody say to me?
That's right. And when you done put in the work, what? Yes.
Not put in the work.
Yes, yes. This has been marriage's work.
Yeah,
But it is work. It's work daily, but it is good work if you're with the person that wants to work with you. It's an exchange. Don't do it.
Y'all embarrassing her.
Nina put y'all on punishment.
I know, right?
She know how parents are.
She said y'all sharing too much tonight. Y'all are amazing. I know that y'all have dropped so many nuggets. The audience has been going crazy over here with the comments and the questions. And my prayer is that someone heard something tonight. And that's what I want for every show, that somebody hears something that helps them move forward, go to the next level. Somebody that will be encouraged that, you know what? Okay, maybe I will give marriage a try. Maybe our relationship can get better. Maybe we can move forward. Maybe we can spice things up. So I definitely want to say thank you all for sharing and being so vulnerable and transparent tonight, because this has been amazing. Look, we done gone over almost 2 hours of the show.
Wow.
Talking about wonderful y'all relationships are, and being transparent. Understand that it's not always easy. You got to put in the work. There has to be communication. There has to be continuous trust for you all to keep moving. And I think that is just amazing. I know that both parties have things going on. So I'll start with the Myers. Talk and tell people, the audience, about what y'all got going on in the book, everything else.
So much. What we got going on?
Everything.
Dr. Myers.
Yes, Dr. Myers. That's the newest thing. It's like Dr. Myers. Say it again, baby.
Dr. Myers.
All right.
But talk about Kitchen Sink Cook.
Yeah.
So during COVID, for those who don't know, we made a cookbook.
Yes.
It had been something I had been wanting to do for a long time. So during COVID, we put together recipes from family recipes, recipes we created just for the cookbook. And then some things we kind of took some old recipes and spiced them up and made them new. There's drinks in there. There is spices in there. There is sauces and dips in there.
It's a really good, and
there's good stories in there.
Stories that
by the stories mostly.
That come with it.
So it's therapeutic for us. And it's on our website. The website is so it can be robamyers.com, robamyers.com, or Kitchen Sink Cook. What is it? Backslash.
Just go to D-Rob. Yes, just go to robamyers.com.
Can y'all type that in the comments?
You'll be able to see not only the cookbook, you can buy the cookbook, buy some spices, learn about his choreography. I'm excited that one of his routines just won like all the awards up in Vermont. And so in that we keep a lot going on. So I feel like that's a loaded question. But in that, we appreciate your support in that.
Right, we're
awesome. Is this how it is?
No. So just one E, the Rob A Myers MYERS.com.
All right.
Okay. Well, awesome. So tell everybody where y'all are. Where y'all live?
We're in Kernersville. It sounds weird to say it. We're in Kernersville, North Carolina. That's right in between
Winston-Salem.
Winston-Salem and Greensboro.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. I think, is that right?
Yep, that's it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, Paris, tell us.
Well, we have a podcast, Young
Mhm.
People Nation, where we have been doing it for almost 2 years.
Wow.
It was birthed out of our situation um, when my husband found out about his biological father, and the Lord spoke to him and gave him Young People Nation. We're on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Um, Lord, Apple, and we air every Thursday and at 12 o'clock. But you can go back and look at any of our previous videos on YouTube.
Mhm.
And so we're wanting to make people aware that God has many ways of helping us. And so some people, hey, they can read a scripture and
Yep.
get delivered. Some people got to take some medicine. Some people got to go sit on the couch. Whatever way he directs you to do, that's what you need to do in order for you to be free and live and not just exist.
Amen.
Yeah, that's good.
Awesome. Well, again, I wanted to make sure that everyone knew all the great things that you all have going on and how they can connect with you all and buy y'all stuff and also support because the Perry Show also are open to more sponsors, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
get in contact
Young
with
People
y'all.
Nation, Young People Nation 1 at gmail.com.
youngpeoplenation1@gmail.com. Let me see if that is making sure I'm not missing anything in the comments. Okay, we got the YouTube.
That's the YouTube. Young
Okay.
People Nation 1 at gmail.com.
Okay. I'll see if somebody's typing that. If they can get it before me, Young People Nation 1
Yes.
at Gmail. Let's see if this is right.
Yes.
Is that right?
That's right.
All righty. Okay. Well, again, don't see. Okay, there we go. We got. All right. Yeah. And she said, "Young People, we got Nation." It's all good.
Young People, Young People, Young People Nation 1 at Gmail. There you go.
It's all good. Thank you. Thank you so much for your help. Well, I thank y'all so much for being on. Of course, I love all of y'all, and I wanted to make sure that the world knew who you all were and heard your story. And I knew your stories would be such a blessing to our audience of the Today Is Your Day show. And so I definitely, again, thank you all for giving me y'all's evening because I know it's much later there than it is here. And I'm definitely grateful that you all said yes. And I hope that someone watching tonight or that will watch later will gain something from what they've heard, what they saw, and understanding that, hey, every relationship's not perfect. It takes work. It takes work. And Judy Kahn and she and her husband are amazing. People look to them at Whole Life Ministries. They're known all over the city about
Oh, yes. We know Miss Judy.
Yeah.
Hey.
How wonderful their relationship is.
Yes.
And so she even watches. So y'all are great. So we just love all y'all. We thank everyone in the comment section for being active and talking with us today. And because I always feel like, hey, we're all having a conversation, not just me and the guest. Everybody's having a conversation. But again, thank you all. And as I always say, it doesn't have to be your birthday for today to be your day.